What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 13. I got the count now of the
Oh man,
Casual Pros podcast. My name is Ricari. This is Jeff Easterling, otherwise known as Grim Brother One, and we're here for no apparent reason other than a few people click on this, and we needed an excuse to come together and do normal things that friends do. You've lived up here now.
Sure.
What is it? Is
over
it 5?
6 years.
It's 6.
Yeah, it's over 6 years, man. It's craziness.
And I would say that we've probably seen each other still at this point
6 times. No,
more at work than we have probably on our own.
maybe.
Like, I would want to say that I've come to visit you at work or me at work, just almost if what feels
Probably
like
about
many
as
times.
much. Yeah.
But
Yeah, I can see that.
This is our excuse too.
It also doesn't help that we just work a lot,
There's that too.
and that we work in things that we would just normally do anyway.
Yeah, right. So really, the
It's like,
work
oh, we're
visits
hanging out
didn't
playing
feel
games.
like
Oh,
any bad visits.
somebody
but
happens to
yeah.
be paying us too.
But this is our excuse. This is our excuse to get together, chat. I like to pick your brain a lot. You like to pick mine, and I guess that's kind of the premise for what this episode will be about. Normally, I guess we gave you the rundown. Normally, when we first started out, we wanted to make sure that we had a bunch of podcasts in the bank and we could release some weekly. So we would record in groups, something like 3, 4, 5 episodes at a time. They're only about a half an hour. But what we found is they weren't topical. Like, we were talking about whatever came to mind, and they were fun stories.
Yeah.
They were interesting
But
topics.
it might be releasing 4 weeks later.
Yeah, sometimes 5, 6.
Yeah.
Like when we had to get to the Kobe news.
I was gonna say the Kobe one. I think was the first one that was
Scramble.
like pretty much immediate.
I had one ready
And we put
to
it
go.
ahead of other
Yep,
episodes.
yep. And I think it ended up being episode
8,
7.
yeah, 7 or
and
8.
I was mad that it wasn't
Yes,
8.
that's right.
I
That's
was
right.
mad. I was like, it'd be so great. But I guess it kind of brings us to now, and with the way the world is, we need an excuse to get together.
Yeah.
I come shoot out a little, what's basically a batting cage for basketball that's blocks away. So I'm like, okay, I can do this every Sunday and come visit Jeff in the morning and we'll record. So that's why we're here. So we're going to try and be topical. I have no idea how this is going to go because the topical, and I'll tell you what I did because I haven't told this to you yet either. Normally we do some pre-pro. We'll write down our ideas, what we could say about each. I just kind of wrote things down during the week as they happened.
Oh, okay.
And said we can go back and talk about that, give our takes and whatnot. Maybe y'all don't want to hear our takes.
It's true.
Maybe this will end up okay and we keep doing it.
We might not even want to hear our takes.
I really don't. Somebody asked me why I hadn't been tweeting as much. I'm like, I don't have shit to say.
I know. It's kind of the same.
Like, what am I going to say? So we'll try this out. See
Yeah.
how it goes. How has the week been? This is the first time I get to check up on you in a week. Normally we met every month.
It's good. It's good. My daughter turned 20 this week. Yeah. Which is amazing. I'm super proud of her. Just growing up into, I'm going to say like a kid, but not just more and more, not really. But had some cool, like, emotions and festivities and just, and stuff like that surrounding that milestone from a family perspective. And still just, my wife is a professor, so she's kind of back in the classroom doing stuff. And so it's me just juggling, working at home with the animals. Have a very excitable, high energy, very smart, wants to do thing pup. And so, so juggling like my schedule and the dog, Indy is the dog's name, knows the sound that Teams make when it hangs up, and could be
like Microsoft
across,
Teams?
Microsoft Teams, and could be across the house, and he'll just hear that, dunk, and just you just hear zoom like inside into the room, like
we're playing.
It's my time. It's we're playing now. But now he's got, so I start muting before I do that. But now he knows the sound of what people sound like when they're saying goodbye. So like you just have a conversation, blah 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 blah, but everyone says the same.
Great.
Yes, he's like, okay, thanks everyone, or this and that, and all of a sudden, like he
he comes around like, so you guys are gonna circle back on that one? We can play.
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna table for this for now.
It is, and now it's extended to like phone conversations. I was like, talking to my mom or something like that, and they're like, okay, yeah, well, I'm gonna let you go, like, just like popping out of air vents and stuff like that. It's like it's fetch time. Yeah, so that's all like a fun juggle. And of course, up here, what you've been dealing with as well is we have all the air quality craziness. We are right now like fortunate enough to not be in super immediate threat from the actual fires themselves.
Yep.
But a whole bunch of people are. I have a good friend who actually moved up here just a couple of years ago, and she lives more near like the Rainier Mountain areas. But the home they were going to buy and didn't burn down. And so, like, I mean, it's pretty crazy. We have coworkers and friends and stuff that live closer to where this is, and obviously in Oregon, and a lot of friends in like California and stuff like that. So certainly, we talk about topical, hearts and thoughts and prayers and stuff go out to folks dealing with that kind of stuff. And so we're getting some of the residual from like an air quality health type perspective. So it's taking a situation where you're already kind of stuck inside most of the time and just making sure you stay inside, because even like just going outside is like it's all the worst parts of a campfire.
It smells. Yeah. It's like, I don't want this in my clothes. I'm going back inside.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it's been for me, is just, okay, I'll just stay inside. Granted, there's not a lot that I'm really trying to go do outside anyway, but it's always a reminder when I go out and walk Reggie. I'm like, oh, yuck.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yep.
Makes me wear my mask. Not to say I wouldn't wear it otherwise. I always wear it, but it's definitely like a...
What's funny is like we have masks that we'll wear, especially depending on kind of where we're going. And I was telling my wife that I'm like, man, I was like, now I want like a robust like rebreather, type thing, if like specifically for the smoke.
So yeah, not even makes me wear my mask, but I haven't forgot it since the smoke's been around.
Yeah.
There have been plenty of times where I get outside and I'm like, oh, damn it. And I got to run back inside, get the mask. No, now I'm like, ugh. Like you said, it smells like the worst parts of a campfire.
Yeah.
Whatever. We'll make it through.
Yeah. It's like all the smoke, none of the s'mores.
I got to stay away from s'mores. Yeah. Love them, I hate them. Whatever.
We have to keep using a wider angle lens.
Yeah, right? So, as we talk about going through this and tweaking as we go, last week I definitely used a wide angle lens that maybe we're the discerning eyes. Maybe we're the ones that would notice that.
Yeah,
but
probably.
I was working on editing the video.
Or we just dieted and we got a little bit thinner this week.
I don't even know if we're bigger. It was just distorted.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like we just looked wider.
Strange fisheye, like.
Yeah. So, we're trying out new stuff now.
What about you? How's the week been? Just kind of same?
Same old shit, different day. I mean, it's been interesting enough in the bits that we'll talk about. Actually, it's been a very thorough week, and this are some of the bits that I get to pick your brain on, because you're going to enjoy it. It'll be fun. And I guess that just brings us, we'll start with Monday, right?
Okay.
As a Microsoft employee, you are not allowed to comment on leaks or rumors. But, of course, something major leaked, and thankfully it was confirmed, because now we can talk about it. And you can kind of talk to, and I can too, how much leaks suck. But I got my long-awaited, even though I didn't care, Xbox Series X pricing.
Yeah.
As well as confirmation of an Xbox Series S and pricing for that as well. And I guess I'll ask you from more of the fan standpoint. What do you think? Because you got to buy them. Like, it's not like you get handed one because of the job that you do or anything like that. So I'm curious of what your thoughts on price point, what you think availability will be like, how they handled an announce that got ruined for them. Monday in general.
Funny enough, you say like getting given a console. I think the only console I've gotten for free is I won one at an employee raffle during the Halo Wars 2 launch live stream that I was hosting with Brian Gerard. And they come in and they're like, hey, you won. And I'm like, we're signing off. Just leaving. And that was actually, ironically, that was when the S came out, the
Slim,
the Xbox One S, came out. But yeah, I mean, as a fan, because a lot of the stuff that even being like first party, you get a lot of people like, oh, how much is the new Xbox? Or oh, when this? I'm like, you might be surprised at how much we don't know.
Yeah, it's
like,
compartmentalized.
It's again, super compartmentalized. And a lot of times people, I'll say like, I don't know. And they'll be like, yeah, sure. Like, no, I legitimately don't know certain, even things like a date or a price or stuff like that.
You ready for this? You don't care.
That's also true.
We would always laugh about the fact that I would come over here and talk to you for hours. We would call each other on the phone, have check-ins. we never once discussed
not really
what
talked
each other
ever about work.
would be working on.
Yeah,
Ever.
probably the most we talked about work was when we were working on things together. I mean, even then we didn't much because we were just doing it on the job. Like when we worked on the Killer Instinct stuff together, we did like the Arbiter for Killer Instinct. Like most of our discussions, even about that, just happened at work.
Yeah.
Too.
Now we talk about it after.
Yes. Yeah.
But
that's more like fans.
Considering I have somebody on the inside, I laugh about how little we would try and discuss, new info. Like, hey, you might not know this, but when we talk about XYZ with Halo, it doesn't happen. It's hilarious. So yeah, it comes back to the Series X. You don't know, and you don't care to know. You'll find out when you find out.
And in all honesty, sometimes that's really nice because, for like Halo, for example, this is in my 7th year now working on it, and there are no surprises really when it comes to like Halo. At least, especially in the stuff that I would be surprised by, narrative related things and stuff like that. So I really love when I can pour into something else and be surprised by it.
Yeah.
So even when like I get super excited when we roll around to like E3, Gamescom type times, because I'm like, oh, sweet. Like what has everybody else been working on? Like what are other things? And I love Xbox and Sony and Nintendo. Like it doesn't matter to me kind of like what it is. That's like, comparing, Porsche and Lamborghini and Ferrari and like it's like I like all of them. All please. Yes.
Yeah.
Can I have a
if I can find a way to have all of them, I will have all of them.
But yeah, so like from a fan perspective, it's been super cool, really great news. I would like to shout out, and it's a huge, huge, huge team effort. But we have a mutual friend, Stein, actually, who works on the social team for Xbox. And shout out to him and everybody involved with that for some really awesome pivots on the leak stuff for the Series S. They just did a really great job with. They tossed in some memes. They like were clever about it. They met it kind of like head on, and then they turned something that could have been just bad into something that was acknowledging and self-referential, and then rolled right into the announce and the confirmation super smooth. And like I was so like impressed with that group's effort and like proud of them, like because we've all been there. And those things are not easy to wrangle. Like
they're not, and they are, and it just takes the leadership. So you talk about Stein, and above him, I know is Graham Boyd, AC Bongos. Y'all have known him. Mm-hmm. And there's just been an entire shift on that social team, and I don't know where it started. It could be above Graham. It could be with third-party vendors that they used. But we used to try and employ tactics like this in community management. Like you're gonna get punched in the eye. Mm-hmm. A leak will happen, something will break. How you respond is generally, it's like having a kid. If your kid falls over and they look to you immediately like, am I hurt?
Oh no.
And if you do that, then the reaction is going to be negative. But if you're like, oh yeah, we fell.
Yep.
Now what? Then the reaction turns better. So it's shown its face with the way Xbox handles stuff in the past. Very corporate, uptight, and that usually falls on deaf ears. And then I look at things like all the unboxing videos that I've done.
Yeah.
And they've got new people that come in, and we shifted away from like retail perspective, high and tight, and it's gone to, we're just going to leave the camera on and let you just talk mess about this. I'm like, what? So I watch that team and how Xbox Game Pass, how they just send their tweets out and how they talk about new things. Game Pass is hilarious. So yeah, to see the official Xbox account just post a singular meme.
Yeah.
That's their reaction.
Yep.
Godlike.
Yeah.
Absolutely
it was
godlike.
Awesome. So from a fan perspective, and quite frankly, from a Microsoft like employee standpoint, I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. Like, good job, team.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't have anything to do with it, but it's and again, I think it's good for overall the industry wise when you have kind of that play back and forth. Because also the folks that are doing that stuff, man, everybody has different experiences on different sides of that fence too. You have people that go from Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo and back and forth, and they take those learnings and make each one better. And I think it just kind of, they all kind of continue to grow and evolve. I've seen Sony do some really funny and hilarious things like on their social channels or ad campaigns and stuff. And Nintendo's always doing their own thing and doing some sort of, wacky thing. Seems
works for
like they can't. Yeah,
It's their
seems
voice.
like they can't go wrong.
Not everyone
But yeah.
can and has to be Wendy's, but God, it's nice to see brands be themselves and have fun.
Yeah.
I know people talk about, oh, cringe, a brand is trying to relate to me, and part of me is like, let them. Maybe they're not talking to you. Maybe they're talking to others.
There's
but
no
that's
winning
them.
too, because if they just stayed corporate, then it's like, be quiet, brand.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
being
right.
corporate, and then if they try to, relate, then it gets called out for disingenuous. Stop.
You're absolutely right. So, Xbox One S, $299.
Yeah.
Well, Xbox One, or excuse me, Xbox Series S.
Yeah.
Xbox Series X.
You
$499.
literally, I actually like the naming conventions. A lot of people keep saying it's confusing, and I'm like, you guys aren't fans of cars, because like to me the naming conventions sound a lot like car manufacturers.
Mhm.
The S, the X, the R. Like you have those denominators that are indicative of like performance levels or trim or something like that. So I think it's I just wish that S and X didn't sound so similar to each other as letters. That's literally the only downside. But they certainly work.
What are you getting?
Oh, dude. I mean, my main plan is to get a Series X.
At launch or later?
Probably at launch. I'm not sure. Probably at launch. And I say that because like I don't PC game.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people are like you're saying like, well, if I PC game and I can play a lot of my favorite Xbox titles also on PC, then that makes total sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think like the Series S is really interesting because, and again, part of this depends on however Sony's pricing structure and stuff shakes out. But Series S makes a really good argument from a fan perspective for all the people who are looking to PS5 as their primary console. Because now all of a sudden you'd be like, oh wait, I can have my PS5 at whatever it is, but I can also snag one of the new next gen Xboxes for like $299. Like it makes having a second console and making your second console like an Xbox, one of the Xbox family consoles, a whole lot like kind of slicker proposition there, which is I think super smart and nice because again, I'm just a big fan of more people having more access to awesome games. So I think I tweeted like the other day or something that like PS5 at launch will largely come down to Gran Turismo for me. So if they have Gran Turismo 7 at launch, I'll probably get a PS5 at launch. And if not, I'll probably hold off. So like I got a PS2 at launch and maybe a PS3 at launch. PS4 I held out for just a little while because I really wanted the Destiny PS4, the pretty white one. And yeah, so it'll just depend on because PS5 for me is more specifically for exclusives.
Yeah. That's me. That's
yeah.
PlayStation.
And PS4 has been the same way. Some really amazing games. I just finished God of War recently, and just absolutely fantastic. I'm always still playing, Gran Turismo Sport. Huge Uncharted fan. Horizon Zero Dawn is next. I want to.
Oh, it just came out on PC, and I own it on PlayStation. And I've only got through about an hour, and I'm like,
once I'm done with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I'm planning on moving over to Horizon Zero Dawn because I know all the sequel stuff is coming out for Horizon, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to be seeing all these trailers, and I have no idea what's going on.
Pretty much that. You know what's tough for me is I know there will be a Series X, but then I think of like streaming and content creation. I'm like, well, Twitch only broadcasts at 1080p anyway.
Yeah.
Like the biggest that I can send my signal out is that. That's what people are watching at. Do I get a Series S for the workstation?
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, well, what if I want to capture 4K footage to put on YouTube and stuff?
For sure.
And I'm like, well, who's really watching this footage in 4K? Like, I'm not the go-to guy.
I think that's an interesting thing to me, like, especially when you watch stuff like online, it's harder and harder to get across next genness, like especially from just a sheer pixel power count like, what am I watching this on my phone, or I'm watching this on my laptop, or am I watching it on my TV, or am I
Because
like
it's based on my connection,
yeah,
my
there's
television.
there's so much that kind of goes into it, and like only when you actually see it running like natively on whatever hardware it's supposed to be running on, like does it look correct, you know, in a way. So that's interesting. And also not everybody has 4K TVs still. I would guess, I have no idea what the numbers would be on it, but I would imagine that the vast majority of people don't have 4K TVs. Probably the majority have like high def TVs.
Yeah.
So like
1080
1080 or 1440 or something like that. But yeah, so that's interesting. I think it's a cool strategy.
1440 is more niche though than 4K.
Yeah,
4K
probably
is the buzzword.
Yeah, that's true.
But
I just think it's a cool strategy to kind of have those two angles, and that's something that we usually would not have seen until later in the life cycle. Like normally you have like your slim or like here's an alternative route, like the all digital console or whatever it is. And actually, and both Sony and Microsoft are doing that approach to some degree.
Yep.
Because PlayStation has the digital alongside the non-digital. And I don't think there's any difference other than that. Oh, for the PlayStation?
Yeah.
I have no idea, actually.
Because we think the only difference there is the disk drive, right?
Yeah. Like, maybe it would depend on the price. Like, I like the ability to have a disc. I think that's my only thing, is I like the option. Yeah. I love physical media. Like, I love steelbooks and like collector edition type things. But what's funny is more and more companies now offer a collector's edition with a digital code, or a collector's edition without a code. Even like if you just want kind of the goodies and you want to, you know, maybe you have a season pass that incorporates it or whatever it happens to be. Destiny has done a good job with that, with their like bigger editions as they've gone along. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, part of me really just likes the option, but I also like the form factor of the like it's in an odd place, like where the disc slot is.
Sir, would you like the super salad? That's gonna be Jeff when they launch.
A super salad?
Will price determine which one you pick up?
Maybe. Probably.
I mean,
at least for Sony it is.
See, it's tough because marketing research shows that we as consumers do not pay attention to a $50 price difference. In that, if something is priced $450 and the other is priced $499, we just think they're all $500.
Yeah. They're all for something.
Yeah, they're right there.
Well, it's like as a kid, you tell your mom the action figure's $4, even if it's $4.99. It's in the $4 range.
I had to learn that one quick with my dad owning the restaurant. I had to be like, all right, it's right there. It's fine. I knew the tax too. I knew the breakdown. I told him exactly what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm torn on that one too. For PlayStation, I'm moving away from physical media, and the last bastion of humanity was movies. But I still want the Series X.
Funny, so movies and music, I moved away from physical media real quick.
Yeah.
Games were the ones that were the holdout for me, specifically because I loved collecting things like steelbooks and collector's editions of things and stuff like that. But now, even that, like,
well, because movies
only
give me codes. I have like 250 movies now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, I can get rid of these and just pick up the stragglers.
Yeah.
Liam will have a collection when he goes away and has nothing to play it on.
It's true.
You might as well just give me a VHS.
Yeah.
Oh, man. We'll see. Something will end up in the streaming room. I don't know what yet. Probably an X.
I'm just excited because I just like new eras of things, and I like watching how they play out. Here's a question actually for you. This is not on our list, but I was talking to some friends of mine, because a lot gets made sometimes of like launch lineups. And like, I think back to like PS2, which I don't remember having I remember having like a fairly benign launch lineup, and then became one of the greatest consoles of all time, like easily. What console had the best launch lineup ever?
I don't know. I never paid attention to any of them.
Yeah. Like N64 is the one that stands out to me.
Mario
Because I
and
think
Star
you
Fox.
had Shadows of the Empire at launch too, like Mario 64. I think Mario Kart,
I don't know. Don't
maybe
care.
a Star Fox. Yeah, like, but I remember it having, I think, a pretty big, robust launch. But every console used to launch with a racing game and a fighting game because they're the easiest graphical showcases.
Mhm.
And then just kind of like various ones, because even like the original Xbox launch, we look back now and we're like, oh, and Halo came out with it. Yeah, but nobody knew that then.
They did though. They knew, but they didn't understand the importance and the significance.
For
that Halo
sure.
was.
Yes.
Because you know what was great for it too was NFL Fever 2000.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, "Oh, there's a football game there."
Yep.
Now,
Brutal
NFL
Legend.
Fever. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Brutal Legend as well.
Fusion Frenzy.
So I don't know which consoles had the best lineup because I don't really care. I didn't know what Halo was, and I played it later after launch. I was like, oh shit, this is great. PlayStation was sort of the same thing. It was like, can I just get my hands on the console?
Yeah.
And mind you, the only launches that I've been able to get my hands off the bat because of my age.
Yeah.
And because of the money afforded to me in life, were the 360. I turned 19 right before it. You know, like that was the adult purchase.
Yeah.
The PS3, Xbox One, PS4. That's it. Or in the Wii.
I'm trying to remember the
And the Switch.
360.
November 22nd, 2005.
Might have been.
I got 2.
360 might have been the first launch console I had as well. Yeah, it might have been.
It was for me.
Actually,
Went in reserve.
because
2 at
PS2
GameStop.
I got like shortly after, I want to say, and N64 as well. But
Those I was too. I mean, I had to wait to get them as a gift. So yeah,
PS1 was the first console I ever bought with my own money, but it was well after launch.
I'm trying to figure out.
And
what
I got
was
it because
my
I wanted to
own
play
money.
Spawn. Like,
I used to go trade in crazy at Funko Land before they were acquired by GameStop. That was
oh yeah,
that was like the EB Games in
Yeah.
the neighborhood. And so I don't remember with all the peripherals that I would collect from like Christmases and stuff like that. Like when trade-in values were better. I would go back and forth between 64 and PlayStation.
Yeah.
Would play one for about 6 months. Like, I'm gonna go get a PlayStation. Go trade it back in, go get something else. And so I don't remember Dreamcast I got for Christmas. PS2, I don't remember how I got it, but I got it. Xbox was given to me as a gift. That's how I got my first. No, actually, oh no, I do know. I won a King County, or not King County. I was Youth of the Year for my Boys and Girls Club.
nice.
And so we all went and presented at Benaroya Hall, and that's where I learned I could public speak, by the way. And because I didn't write a speech, and I had to get up in front of 500 people and give a speech, and I was like, oh, this will be easy. They're like, well, you have to write one. I'm not going to read it. Well, you have to write one. Here. Anyway, but our prize it was sponsored by Microsoft, so our prize was an Xbox. So that's how I got my first one. Anyway, I'll buy them. We'll see if I can get my hands on a PS5 without paying,
Oh yeah.
extortion.
When you talk about
prices.
like price making a difference, that will make a difference. If it's like some sort of like scalper type of deal, like no.
Because PS4 I got for a very particular reason, which was also Destiny. I did not have one, and then all of a sudden there was a particular what was it called? Was it music player demo? Do you remember that? There was like the alpha for Destiny, the hidden alpha, the very secret, like friends and family. I mean, it was out there.
Yeah.
You just couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
They didn't say anything early, and then somebody was like, "Hey, do you want to play?" What the? Yes.
Yeah.
You have a PlayStation? Don't ask that. Hey, don't ask about the details.
Yeah.
I'm running the game.
I can.
Is there one here? Well, there's one about 35 miles. I'm on the way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll get them.
That's funny.
So as we talk about the consoles and streaming and all this one I haven't told you. I rented an office space.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, okay. So this is multifaceted, and this is the bit where I alluded to like getting your take on things.
Yeah.
And my place, you've been to it.
Yep.
You guys have been inside of it. Technically, if you've watched these
Mhm.
videos, it's all of 750 square feet, laid out in such a way that it feels sizable, but it's a giant rectangle, right?
Mhm.
Liam technically lives in a closet. He lives in the den, but
Yeah.
because there's
It's not
because there's
actually
no
a closet,
window,
yeah.
it can't be classified as a bedroom, or there's no
Oh.
door. There's no door on it. So
Oh
it's
yeah,
not
because it's open, just
yeah,
a open,
it's just open
archway kind of thing.
um,
Yeah.
tiny little space. Liam's doing school from home. I'm what would be described as work from home.
Yeah.
Emily is work from home, and there's things that I realize that I'm able to do that she's not able to do because of our upbringings.
Mhm.
Me, I'm very adaptable and pliable. I've done more with less, and not to say she does less with more, but boy, she's just never had to
Yeah.
rob Peter to pay Paul. And nothing in a bad way, but I was, looking at us bumping heads in any sort of way that we would,
Yep.
people being on top of each other. And I was like, you know what? It would be stupid as we look to buy a bigger home together for you to go rent a place, because then that takes away from us spending like evening times or non-working times together.
Mhm.
I was like, I can go rent something, but then the fear comes in of I don't have an income. And at the
There's
same
that.
time, I've had more money in my account the past 6 months than I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
But that's because one job that I do
Yes.
can pay my mortgage
in bulk. Yeah.
for 2 to 3 months. And I just say that without saying a number because it keeps it relative,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
can live.
Yep.
But God, I don't see jobs that often. But I
Mhm.
start to think about all the anecdotal content and all that stuff. And what really sold me, Liam was doing his schoolwork on the iPad. No big deal.
Yeah.
I was happy that I had an iPad for him on his bed.
Mm.
And I was like, this just doesn't feel good. With
Yeah.
all the tech that I've got lying around, multiple camera bodies and lenses and this computer and a computer in the closet that I
Yeah.
haven't even set up that'll be a stream machine. I was like, I should go rent something. So look, I'll show you this video right now. You guys won't be able to see it, but technically I could put it in.
You put it.
Well,
put
I
it
get
in
the
there.
keys tomorrow, but I plan on releasing the video tomorrow. So who knows? Maybe I'll go.
We
Maybe
can
I'll
do
go.
a show from there at
Well,
some point.
So that's part of the reason. Oh wait, wrong one. Is I wanted a place to have set up that we didn't have to do this shit anymore.
Yeah.
And not this shit in here.
No,
This is
no,
a
no.
beautiful setup.
Yeah.
Where I don't have to say,
But
hey
the
Jeff,
setup,
I'm
take
driving
down,
over.
yeah.
I'm gonna bring all of these lights. Oh damn it, I left a piece at your house and I spent 20 minutes looking for it at mine.
Definitely didn't happen today.
Yeah, totally not. Totally not. But it's a gorgeous space, and I guess this brings me to my next point. I've pitched to you doing an interview series, right?
Yeah.
Here, check this out. You see that brick backdrop?
Oh, give me that.
So it's right on Ballard Ave,
That's fantastic.
and it's got multi-sided brick walls, if you will, and then, white walls on the
Yeah.
other end. But what I want to do, what I've realized I've done, and this will bring us to our next topic, which is that G4 submission. I'm horrible at creating content, and I'm starting to realize streaming doesn't count for me, which is part of the reason that this series was revived.
Yeah.
Is the things that I want to do
content.
in life,
Yeah.
I have to do packaged content, and I need to put shit out there that sells the idea of me. So the big risk is I'm paying 4 digits a month.
Mhm.
Wild, just literally just barely hit 4 digits for this place. But what I'm hoping to do is our podcast.
Mhm.
There is another podcast that I want to do. Actually, one of my ideas, don't nobody steal this. I actually got it from Stacy King, works at Xbox marketing team. She's like, you know all these people in the gaming industry that love shoes. You guys have a shoe group.
Mm.
I'm like, yeah, we do. She's like, why don't you travel around to events and go interview them, talk about the shoes that they brought,
Yeah.
you know, why they brought them. I was like, yeah, I've actually thought about that. Holy shit. And she's like, you're going to events anyway. Just bring your camera gear.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, who's going to record it? Well, who cares? If you'll figure that out. So now we can't do that. I'm like, maybe we turn that into a podcast. Same sort of thing. Get to talk to people in their home. They can showcase a few bits.
Yeah.
So there's one around.
Like a shoe cribs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a shoe type cribs. That's what I ultimately wanted to
Yeah.
get to was shoe cribs, but from their hotel room. Like, show me what you brought. Oh, check these out. These are my grails.
You can also go to, because they have shoe shows
Mhm.
too.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Oh yeah, more reasons to travel.
Yeah. Mhm.
But figuring out a way to combine, you know, what might end up being named like sticks, video games, kicks,
Yeah.
shoes, all that. Like,
Well, we'll come up with a name.
not
worry about that.
Well, I got somebody. I got somebody who had the same idea for a podcast bit, and I'm like, well, we're in the same group. We might as well just make this.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, cool, I have a backdrop for that. So Casual Pros, that, you know, shoes and gaming bit. The third one that I realize I don't have out there, I've interviewed a ton of celebs and famous people,
Yep.
but I did a horrible job of collecting that content as we went. Because in my mind, I was company boy. oh, I'm at Microsoft. And
Oh,
who
yeah,
cares?
yeah.
I don't want to make, seem like I'm selling myself.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, God damn it, I have to sell myself. So what I want to do, and you and I have talked about this one, is I want to start leaning on all the people that I know from gaming.
Yeah.
First in the Seattle area. So that means a shitload of Xbox folks. It's almost like they have a console launching. Folks at Bungie.
Yeah.
Monolith is still around, right? Yeah. They're still doing stuff.
Definitely.
Like the few folks that I know.
There's
But I
quite a
want to
bit
sit
around.
and interview like we do this, but more actual interview where I'm asking them about them. And I'm like, well, with that brick backdrop, I can set up cameras and stuff.
Perfect.
In there. And then last but not least, yes, streaming. And I can have room to have Liam come in and do his day stuff in there.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I haven't pitched this to you yet, but I get the keys Monday and we can start recording in there anytime. Because what I want to do, and you guys don't know this, I have
live planning.
Well, yeah, this is live planning. I have a couple of camera bodies. I've got all the stuff to make everything happen.
Yeah.
I hate moving it. That is my biggest gripe.
Oh, I totally understand that. Yeah.
Moving it and editing. Editing is the fun one. But I realized after editing my reel that I just have to do it. You can only be lazy for so long. And I think tying a monetary value to it and bleeding my bank. Like, admittedly, this is the risk. I've made it through COVID riding the coattails of success of the first quarter.
Yeah.
My first quarter this year, before all this started, I was like, I'm going to double my Microsoft salary if this stays up.
Yeah.
And then that shit said, where's the button? Oh, I can't hit it.
Oh,
Is
no.
it off? Oh. But no, it did not work out. So yeah, Jeff, I got space.
That's awesome.
I don't want to throw you on the hook for coming out once a week, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if we have a fifth backdrop. Wait, no.
We'll figure it out. Yeah.
2, 3, fourth.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
It'll be a fourth one. But dude, I'm excited about it.
That's awesome.
It'll be fun. That's like the most grown-up thing I've ever done. I put it in the business name and everything. I was like,
that's so great.
It's crazy, right? It's absolutely crazy.
Now let's talk about your reel, actually.
That fucking thing. Okay.
By the way, G4, if you need talent, we got talent.
So, oh God, I'm rolling my eyes over here for multiple reasons. To know why I loathe this reel is just to know a lot about me. And first is, it's going to sound ostentatious, but I swear there's a level of humility that comes with me. I don't like to sell myself, but I know how to.
Yeah.
But God, it feels scummy. And I watch people that do it, and they do it well.
Yeah.
And sometimes they do it a little too much, and I'm like, ugh, I never want to be that.
Yeah.
But I realize in order to get ahead in this world, I have
yeah.
to do that. So the G4 one pissed me off for multiple reasons. First of all, I talk about not collecting content. I didn't have a reel.
Yeah.
Did not have a reel until the other day. And I was too lazy to make a reel because that shit takes time, right? Collecting all the sources, editing together. I'm not a great editor at all. So I tried to outsource it. Talked to a couple of people and I realized that editing is expensive. We're talking thousands of dollars.
Yeah. I feel the same way about like, and not even being in the position of trying to like sell myself in that way for sheer posterity. I look back at a bunch of like stuff that I've done with, especially, you know, with 343 and having long runs on streams and, you know, hosting things and appearance type stuff and what I was like, man, like it'd be awesome to just have like a cool highlight reel for sheer, again, just posterity for myself of, you know, streams and Outpost Discovery panels and like just events and cool things that we've done just like as a cool, like, fond look back type thing. And yeah, it's, if you're not doing it along, and even if you are putting that all together, like working with a lot of video content at 343 and Microsoft all up, like I have so much admiration and respect for all the people who are on like the video production end of that stuff, because it absolutely is like a talent. And it's one of those things that, like a lot of stuff, there's enough out there technology wise to make it accessible for people. So it's easy enough to dabble in it. Yeah. But the delta between dabble and like being really good at it and proficient at it, like, is still pretty wide.
And you pay for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So seeing how much
absolutely
it would cost to
something.
make me a reel.
Get what you pay for, kind of thing.
And then somebody said to me, he's like, "Hey, I'll make you one for a couple $100." You made it?
Yep.
And I was like, "Oh, this is definitely worth a couple $100."
Yeah.
maximum. Like, I was like, God damn it, I'm gonna have to sit down and do this. So I made the reel, and I submitted it to G4, and that felt scummy. And that felt scummy because there were two avenues, and I did both. The first of which is I emailed it directly to them. Like, they had a crazy Adam bit, and they also had a link that went out about a month ago.
Yeah.
Which I was looking at, and I just didn't get my ass up to make the reel, but I submitted it to those two bits. I hated putting that thing online and making noise, because I know how to make a splash. But God, it just felt like a popularity contest.
Yeah, it's tough with things like that. And again, I don't like, we know some of the folks that are over there, awesome, wonderful folks, and I'm super excited about like whatever it is that they are doing and cooking up with kind of like G4's revival. But it's hard to also know what everybody is looking for.
Yeah.
Too, because like from what it seems like, they're looking for a probably wide range of talent to fill out a big content slate. But again, that's super up in the air. Like that's total shot in the dark.
Like, that's the other scary thing.
Yeah, it could be. I imagine it probably does, just because knowing the folks that are behind it, I see it happening. But from like your end, wanting to know like what's the best way to involve and integrate myself, like it's hard to even look at like old G4 content and be like, oh, it might be like that, because the world has changed so much, and how we consume that content has changed so much. And you probably can't look at even like an IGN or something like that, maybe that has some parody, because it's absolutely different. So
so the reel has everything. It has interviews, it has to prompter, it has live, it has pre-recorded and packaged
stage
stuff that I've done,
yeah.
Stage stuff. Yeah. Oh, actually, I didn't put E3 in there. It just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
Literally in the flow.
Yep.
But it's
I thought it turned out great. It was a good cross section of content to like kind of showcase the breadth of your experience, which I think is super good. And really, at the end of the day, there's going to be so many elements that go into why they select kind of the group that they are doing. I mean, it's like, 'cause especially when you're assembling a whole team, if you have a team and you have a spot to fill, that's a totally different search.
Yeah.
Than the Sudoku of
trying to assemble
doing a team all at once, and then be like, oh yes, and then all of a sudden, oh, but the first person now might not fit in with this, and like having that singular vision.
They're not available these times and dates.
Yeah,
oh, God.
Yeah, it's.
You know what I actually believe, and this is the reason why I ended up doing it. How do I say this properly? It's not that I'm not looking to land the G4 thing, but I'm not looking at that as the end all be all.
Oh no, and I think that's the best way. Yeah, that's the best way to put. Well, not even looking past. Even if you're looking to the side of it.
Well, that's what I mean.
Like you have to. You can't.
I submitted there, but I have this content now to submit everywhere else. I think I'll get work from that reel. Maybe not from G4. Probably not from G4.
Yeah.
But from somebody else who's like, oh shit, I caught this. We could use you for something.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm waiting for that to happen. That's actually how my mom convinced me to get the space. She's like, well, will you make more money in the space, that you rented? Than not? She's like, well, that turned into a 4 times investment. She was like, that's what I look for. And I go, yes and no. I was like, Mom, I'm bleeding cash. But if I do the shit in here for about 4 to 6 months, if I can make it to the mid 2021 point, that's where I think companies like Microsoft or Xbox or whoever that needs hosts will figure out how they're either doing in person and online. It's like, if I can just make it, all I need to do is work 1 gig. If I work 1 gig for the 6-month total cost of this place at only, a rack, I was like, I will make 4 times that. I was like, I just have to live. So that's what I look at what the reel is. It's not to say I'm not excited for the G4 thing. Again, I was disenfranchised because I watched the videos of other people, and I'm like, okay, you would think that I should be able to at least get a phone call, but not even thinking about that. I'm thinking about what could potentially pop off elsewhere.
Yeah. And again, there's so much that goes into like what kind of content they're making and what slate there is. Like it's like with any job interview, it's like getting it or not isn't a value judgment. It's just like, oh, is it a good fit?
Yep. Oh, I get that for damn sure.
And so what we were just watching, watching The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary, and it was funny, we had gotten to the point where like I think the Blazers were picking number 2 in that draft, but they already had Clyde Drexler, like so they're like, well, we're not going to pick Jordan because we already have that. They didn't think that Jordan wasn't going to be awesome,
Yeah.
like, or didn't think that he was a good, no one could have predicted that, but like, it wasn't a judgment there. It was like, we need this other thing filled, and it's
Sam Boone.
trying to, yeah, right. And so trying to remember that, I mean, even for myself, I've tried to remember that in
those
in
were the
opportunities
conversations that
past
we
and
had.
stuff like that. Yeah.
What was the role? I remember the name of who got it. You ended up working with
Oh
him
yeah,
a bunch.
yeah.
I don't want to invoke anybody else's
No.
name. But, I just remember you then being like, that's where you started to switch, because I think it was the last interview you did before you actually got your job.
Mhm.
You're like, man, I feel like always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And then after getting your job, you're like, you know what? I wasn't a great fit for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Does not mean that I
absolutely.
wasn't good enough
Yep.
to do the things.
Yeah, I think going through that process always, and obviously hindsight's always easier. Like right when in the middle of it, you're like, this the sting or whatever. But yeah, I think it was like with EA. It was either EA or 2K.
It was 2K.
Yeah,
Well, there was a 2K one. and
because there were both. Yeah.
No, there was a job at Microsoft.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was one where you're like, what? And you're like, no, it makes more sense.
Yep.
I got this other one. Like a month later.
Yeah.
I think it was just like a month later you got the other one. You're like, well,
Yeah.
okay, it was fine. I was like, nah, Jeff, I spent hours on the phone with you. It was not fine. Rightfully so, though.
It's true.
Rightfully so. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm just, the reel got me excited about one thing though, and I edited it together. I streamed me editing. So I was like, I'm taking care of content here and here.
Mhm.
I get to talk to people and show them how I think, blah, 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 blah. And it got me excited to be in a space to create more things to then edit and throw together. Because I have fun editing this together. It's honestly just kind of a couple of point and click things, unless I wanted to extend how we do it. But then I thought about the monetization. Jesus Christ, the business in me. And I was like, man, what if Jeff and I recorded this live? And I know we like to have the chance to edit stuff out. And I was like, what if it was like a subscriber only thing? Where people that,
Yeah.
chipped in to make it happen could watch the live version, and then I could edit. And I was like, okay, Ricardo, sit your ass down. Just move into the space first, and then get going. I was like, I should make a pitch deck. I'm like, to pitch to who? Just in case anybody ever asks me, but I don't know.
That's true.
But yeah, the space is there, the reel is there. Maybe we do the podcast there, maybe we don't. It's just, I'm most excited about being able to get out of Emily's hair. And I know she thinks she's in my hair. I'm the adaptable one. I don't care. I don't think she realizes how much she hates me being with my stream and all that, and the cameras are always
Well,
on.
it'll just be a little bit. It's just a little bit of a relief, just a pressure relief.
That's it, just-
release valve there, which
It's
makes
just a valve.
yeah, which makes sense.
Ooh. Okay, wait. Question for you. Let's say Amazon sent you an iPad, and you did
Mhm.
not order an iPad. What do you do?
I would probably contact them about it.
Oh, Jesus Christ. What the
I
fuck?
know.
Emily said that same shit. I was like, you're out of your goddamn mind. I was like, I got a new iPad. I went and looked through my orders and my credit card charges, and I was like, I don't know where. There's no packing slip, nothing. I
That's
was
crazy.
Like, so it's
And it
just,
didn't get. There's no way to track back to it.
no, without letting them know that you sent
Well,
me some shit that I shouldn't have. If they would have sent me like coffee beans, I'm like, hey, y'all made a mistake. They sent me a whole ass iPad, one of which I already have, and I'm like, we'll figure out something for this.
That's funny.
I don't know what I'm gonna end up doing with it. You know what's funny is I might just give it away to somebody.
I mean, what's funny is if somebody just left an iPad on your doorstep.
That's essentially what happened.
Yeah, that's true.
There's no packing slip.
And it's not, I mean, as long as you're not taking it away from somebody else, too. Like that's, if it's like a miss delivery or something.
My
like that.
name
Yeah,
on the package.
that's crazy.
My name, my unit number, yeah, all that.
Is there any other like school related thing with like Liam or
Yes.
anything like that?
Seattle
Like,
Public Schools is giving out iPads, so I called his mom.
yeah.
Said, hey, did you request one of these? And she said yes. And neither here nor there, but I was like,
Yeah.
well, okay, I already have an iPad for
Yeah.
him that he's using. Like we definitely share that and send it back and forth. But whatever, like maybe we
Well,
don't
having another
claim
one's
the
not bad. Yeah.
but leave that resource to somebody who really needs it. Anyway, I said, so you claimed one because I think they might have sent me one. She's like, no, we picked it up. Like they have them there, and he's already logged in and all that. Like it's almost like a network machine type thing.
Okay.
And I was like, oh. And she's over here like, why? And I was like, and that's the other thing. It was sealed.
I mean, I was just thinking about it.
brand new. And I'm like, well, this was yesterday, by the way. And I was like, well, got a new iPad that I will do absolutely nothing with. Yeah, whatever. I'll be like, here you go, Mom. You can figure it out.
There you go.
What a good son I am.
Can I run GarageBand off an iPad?
Right? Okay, so that brings me to another funny hypothetical then. Let's say you're in Target or any grocery store, Publix, you're back in Florida, whatever it may be.
Oh,
Excluding produce, because I think everybody picks up the grapes and eats them while they're there. Do you open any packages or any items that are for sale in a store, grocery store most likely, and consume what's inside them before paying?
Yeah.
Oh, what the hell? The black in me gets followed enough. Ain't no, like, Emily did that shit
No,
yesterday
so,
with Oreos, and I was
is
like, you're out of
not-
your mind.
No. It's like Oreos, that like a drink is what I would be thinking.
Okay.
So like there are definitely times where I'm like, I want a drink right now and I'm still shopping, and so I will grab a drink and drink it, but I'll put it on the like
Oh, I know you will pay for it.
yeah, absolutely.
But what I'm saying is she's eating Oreos in there, and
like
I'm like,
Oreos
hey.
and chips or something like that. Like no, I'd feel weird about that.
I was just like, hey, look, I'm black.
I have done that with like wings. Like if I got like a big thing of wings, like from the deli
Okay.
or something, and I'm like, oh man, I just want one right now.
I'm telling y'all, I'm curious to see if anybody else hears this. Like, my blackness will not allow. Again, we get followed enough. I'm not giving anybody a
That's
reason
it. I mean,
to come
that's-
say, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah. That speaks to the literal difference of like I wouldn't assume this thing.
Yeah, right.
Because
This was me yesterday in Target. I'm looking at her like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm eating the Oreos. I'm gonna pay for it. And I was like, you know what? Sadly,
no one else knows that.
I can't say I was gonna pay for it. Like, I can't get away with that.
Yeah, that it would be different, and that's bullshit.
It was just funny because it was a world open to me.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, don't you do that with you do that with grapes? And I was like, I don't do that really anymore. But yeah, like my dad used to pop in, grab some grapes. And he wouldn't even buy any other grapes. He would just grab some and shake them shits in his hand like dice and toss them back. And I'm like, hey, bro.
Oh my gosh.
Like, these aren't your grapes. Somebody else is going to buy those. Well, they should wash them before they eat them. You didn't. Them nasty ass hands off of there. That was the most random bit.
That's
But that
funny.
you know what? Maybe because I didn't eat an Oreo in the store, Amazon shipped me an iPad.
That's true. That was the test. Did you hear that? So I have not like read the article. So this is a terrible share type thing. Maybe we could look it up. But apparently, the like owner of Jelly Belly or something is doing some sort of like Willy Wonka type deal or whatever, and like some sort of regional contest where if you win, you get a candy factory or you get like
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't
saw
know
that.
the details, but I just saw it and I'm like, that's awesome.
Is that?
It's awesome from a standpoint of it's crazy and it's a hilarious story.
Whatever.
It's bizarre to think of the entire premise. I'm like, oh yeah, but what about the taxes and the
That's what I'm thinking of.
legal implications?
There's a liability here.
What about the
somewhere.
shareholders?
What
of
if
Jelly
this
Belly?
Jelly Belly thing is in like, a third world
Is
country?
this really
that
a
it's not supposed
money
to be off?
laundering?
That's me. That's instantly what I go to. I always go to the negative in things. And again, we talk about the difference in being, black, white, male, female, whatever. Like Emily, when looking at a house, hey, this dude has his house on Craigslist. I'm like, what? Yeah, he offered for me to come check it out. And then when she goes to check it out, oh, the post is expired, so I can't see the address, and I'm texting him, and he's not texting me back, and my black meter is just going off like, don't go there.
No.
Yeah, let's go. I think it's right over here. We'll just look for the address and just go knock on his door. I'm like, the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, I've heard too many horror stories, specifically when you talk about like women, like in Craigslist type things of
Yeah.
or picking something up, or buying something. No, don't do
No,
that.
my black ass is paranoid. I always bring a friend regardless, and I'm big, just in case. Seen too many movies. Why don't you,
He
why don't
doesn't
you
bring me.
Yeah, no, I'll bring whomever, just another pair of eyes.
Yeah, that's true.
And that was the other thing. She's like, well, he sounds like a little old man from Up who doesn't want to go through the
Like the
process of
shoe it straight to Up.
yeah, like doesn't want to go through the process of selling
He
his house.
sounds like somebody who really loved his wife but lost her eventually.
Yeah,
And then
well,
he's
because
just
I
like-
think he said that. Like, it used to be a couple of them, now it's just him. And I'm like, okay, well, if he's a little old, probably white dude given the neighborhood. You're gonna bring my big black ass? I was like, now we're definitely not getting the house. And she's like, why do you always think that? No, I'm just programmed, okay?
Lived experience.
Yeah, this is lived experience, absolutely. Jeff, today's Sunday.
It's true.
You know it starts in 10 minutes?
Oh, my stomach ulcer.
We're 10 minutes away from
I like what's funny is that the Hawks have the early game and the Bucks have the late game. Backwards scheduling is this?
Where are the Bucks playing?
Bucks are playing the Saints. They open up at New Orleans, which isn't as much of a.
Oh, and the Saints always play at noon because they're only 2 hours ahead.
Yeah, I think they might be Central, but it's the Fox game of the week because it's like Brady Breeze and Brady's first game.
Well, when
with
I
the
say at
Bucks and
noon,
stuff like that, so they push noon for us. It's 1 for us.
Yeah, 1 for. Oh no, they're the 3. They're the 3. They're 3 over there then, right?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
They might be 2, but I don't know if they're far enough over to be Central.
They're Central.
Okay, then it's 2. It's 2 hours.
Yeah, they're 2 hours.
Two-
Because I remember,
2 plus.
because I went to a game in New Orleans
Oh, okay.
when the Seahawks played them, and I remember being like, the game's at noon.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell is this? And I was
Why?
like, oh, it's 10 a.m. back home. Oh, shoot.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Oh, that's going to be a good game.
I know. I'm fully expecting New Orleans to win. Because of no preseason, no real game scenario to get together, and New Orleans has a returning team that this is kind of Breeze's, I think, last hurrah probably.
Yeah.
With New Orleans. New Orleans and actually maybe Dallas scare me the most in the NFC. I think Dallas is kind of riding under the radar with some of the teams, and they've got
Dallas is always projected up here.
Yeah,
And then
Dak is in a contract year though. He's mad he's not getting the money that he feels like he deserves, and they put a bunch of weapons around him. So if their defense holds up, then I think that's speaking of, we have my dog. That's him barking in the background. I don't know if he picks up on Mike, but yeah, Seahawks play the Falcons today, who are also in the Bucks division. So I'm like, oh man, Seahawks can win, and the Bucks can win. 2 other division teams pick up losses, and Lightning play today. That's the one I'm more worried about actually, just because it's the Eastern Conference final. So I'm terrible with sports, man. It affects my health so drastically.
my favorite, and I know we've talked about it on here, fucking Blair Walsh. I felt bad for that one because I still go through this struggle on whether or not I cuss on Twitter.
Oh,
And I've lately been leaning more, now that I don't work at Microsoft, fuck you, I'll say what I want to. But I really don't cuss that much on there. But now I feel fine with it. But we both tweeted that back to back, and Graham,
and
Lacey, tweeted us back. Well, maybe if you weren't doing that, he'd hit his field goal. And I was like,
that's fair.
so yeah. And then I told this other story too. Seahawks lost the Super Bowl throwing a pick. And this is what I did. Oh, looks like the game's over. Jeff, what the fuck?
That's just on fire.
Well, we got to get watching. I'm going to go play some basketball, which seems at odds with my love for the Seahawks, but I still don't feel like it's supposed to be the season.
That's weird. It's weird. I'm super excited. Also, it's crazy. All 4 major sports playing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Which
I think they all 4 played on Thursday.
Happens. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Actually,
because
they probably should have.
Chiefs, Texans. There was hockey. There was basketball.
Yep, and baseball.
Yep.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Wild.
And this weekend, actually, you also have motorsports as well. So you'll have every sport you could possibly want to watch. Actually, my favorite race, 24 Hours of Le Mans, next weekend. Yeah, I'm super excited.
How much of that do you watch?
I stay up the whole night.
Do you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I stay up the whole night. I'll have it on the
is that
TV.
Saturday to Sunday?
Saturday to Sunday. Yeah, I stay up the whole night.
What time does it end on?
Yeah, I
Sunday?
don't know. Actually, we'll figure that out. I
For those
I
of
always
you that
forget
wanna
the
know-
time because I don't remember if they changed the start time of the race too because they moved it to September. So
Yeah.
it's normally in June. It's normally right around Father's Day weekend, like second-ish weekend in June. And so you have different nighttime running now because there's extended night because you've moved it there. So I don't remember if they have moved the start time, but I can never remember what the Seattle to France difference is, like 8 or 9 hours.
We
or
record
something
these
like
Sunday mornings.
Yeah.
We start setting up at 8 a.m. So it's going to be curious to see if you're coming.
that. It's true. I'll just have my laptop on there and
But
just
I
watching
mean,
it.
if you're in like hour 20
Yeah, I think it'll be like right about to be
over, right?
over.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it'll be interesting. All
Yeah,
right, well,
it'll be awesome.
I guess then we'll just we'll see you next week. That's going to be a great
Sure.
one.
It'll be good.
Do you want to?
I will have been up for a long time.
I'm excited for that shit. I'm excited for that shit.
Yeah, it's all good, man.
Sweet.
I'm excited to
Well, thanks,
for the
buddy.
future.
I appreciate you.
Always.
Thank you all for watching and or listening, whichever one you decided to do for whatever reason. This is our longest episode, by the way.
Oh wow, hour and a half. Wow.
No, hour.
Oh.
1 hour, 1 minute, 38
I don't know.
seconds.
I glanced and saw the 137.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the seconds. Yeah, that's
But yeah, thank you guys all very much for watching, joining in. We'll be back next week. Why? Who knows? With what topics? Who knows?
We'll decide over the week. We'll decide on
If we
Saturday
decide
night.
topical sucks, we'll definitely have a topic.
Yeah,
that we'll
that's
see.
true.
All right. Take it easy, y'all. See you
Bye.
later.